Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb. Imam Sahib says in this verse that we are speaking of the inspiring and faith-enhancing journey of the Holy Prophet ﷺ to Medina from Mecca. And one thing to bear in mind is that as this caravan of 4 people were traveling towards Medina, then if there was a stranger on the journey and he would ask who this person is that is pointing towards the Holy Prophet ﷺ, Hazrat Abu Bakr responded with incredible farsightedness and master concealment. He said that this is the person, that is the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that this is my guide. What he meant was that he's my master and my guide, and the person who would be asking the question would presume that the Holy Prophet ﷺ was his guide for the particular journey. About this journey, Hazrat Bara narrates, and it's a very inspiring incident. He said that while in Medina, once Abu Bakr came to my home and he bought accoutrements for a journey on a camel, and he said to my son that tell your son to take this this equipment for me, because it must have been heavy equipment. So he said that he got up and he picked up the gear, the equipment, and I took it with Abu Bakr and my father came to the Holy Prophet, to Hazrat Abu Bakr to receive the money, collect the payment. And when he came to the Abu Bakr, he said that please inform me of some events of the migration of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Abu Bakr agreed, and he mentioned, and this is the narration of Abu Bakr, that he said that in the morning we left the cave of Thor after staying there for 3 days and 3 nights. When they departed from the cave, this is what he reports on what happened then. So Abu Bakr said that he adopted a route which is quite desolate and rarely used. So the usual route was shorter and more well known, but the Holy Prophet ﷺ adopted the route which was rarely taken and comparatively longer, and this was so that they would be saved from the enemies. So as they were traveling in the afternoon, they came across a very tall rock, and it was jutting out, and because it was jutting out, so there was some shade beneath it, and because they were tired from the journey, they decided to rest there. There were no other means of shade, no trees, etc. So when they saw this tall rock, they sat beneath it, and the sun could not get there. So that was the first rest during the journey, because it was a long journey and they needed to take some time to rest. So they got off their camels, and Abu Bakr Siddiq said that when we got off the camels, and first of all I fixed that place, I leveled it, because it wasn't very comfortable to lie on, and then I fixed it with my hands, smoothed it with my hands, and I laid my blanket on top of it, which he had taken with him. And then after that, he requested the Holy Prophet ﷺ that, O Prophet of Allah, rest here. And he also said that you rest here, and during this time I will go and survey the surroundings, so that they would be contented that this place was okay to rest, and there were no dangers there. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ laid down on the blanket and went to sleep. And he said that I walked around to survey the surroundings, and he said that he found a person who was bringing his goats towards the same rock. He might have been looking for the shade as well, because he had been roaming around in the sun for a long time. So he was also coming towards the same rock. When he came near me, I asked him who he was. He said that he is the goat herd of a person from Medina. Here in this narration, it says that the person who is narrating said that he wasn't sure whether he said Medina or Mecca, because it could have been from both sides. It could have been from Mecca or from Medina. So he said that as far as the person who is relating said, as far as he remembered, he said that it is he had goats from someone in Medina. So in any case, Abu Bakr Anhu said that I said to him and asked him that, do you have any goat from among your goats which is able to give milk, and will you milk it for us? And he said yes. So he caught hold of the goat, and before he started to milk it, I said to him that wash the udders of this goat properly, because there might have been some filth there. So he said to him to wash the udders properly, and then so he milked the goat and filled a cup of milk. And he said that he had also taken another cup with him, in which the Holy Prophet ﷺ used to use to drink water and to use for ablution, etc., for water. And so he filled this cup and brought it back to the Holy Prophet ﷺ. But when he came back, the Holy Prophet ﷺ was asleep, and Abu Bakr Anhu said that I did not like the idea of waking the Holy Prophet ﷺ up and disturb him for the milk. So he said that he held the cup and he waited for him. So when the Holy Prophet ﷺ woke up by himself, then he added a bit of water to the milk to cool it, and then after that he presented it to the Holy Prophet ﷺ and said, Huzur, this is some milk, please drink it. The Holy Prophet ﷺ drank it fully, and then he asked, hasn't the time for our departure arrived yet? Because now we have rested, and is it not the time for us to leave now? And he said that Abu Bakr Anhu replied that yes, O Prophet of Allah, it is the time to leave. So then when the sun set, then they began their journey again after the sunset. So this is the story of one stage of the journey. Look at the lack of means that they had, in which they left Mecca. And at this occasion, one of these occasions, when the Holy Prophet ﷺ looked back at Mecca, and he said that, O land of Mecca, you are extremely beloved to me, and I do not wish to leave you, but your people will not let me live there. And then every part of the journey, each part of the journey was full of difficulties and hardships. So this is an incident that has been reported in the words of Abu Bakr Anhu as to how they, at one particular occasion, they rested and how they had something to refresh themselves, some milk, and how poor their means were. And Imam Sahib said at the end that the rest of the reference will be presented next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.